This is Tech Talk with Paul and Al, and this is a very fascinating radio. Let's take a look at it, Paul.
This is a quickie. Here is a grand Magnavox AM/FM stereo table radio from the 60s. This would have been the finest thing you could get if you were a moneyed person and listened to stereo FM. This is tube type AM/FM stereo, which was unusual in the 60s. And it's got a tube chassis in it, tube tuner. Fascinating thing is, look at the size of the speaker in this. And this has a multiplex unit. That circuit board is a multiplex decoder, standard tube AM/FM radio chassis, and a hand-wired tube types double single-ended stereo amplifier. This came with a matching speaker in a cabinet similar to this. It hooked up to 2 screw terminals. Somebody's modified this one slightly, and I'm going to have to unmodify it, but this one's not working yet. Probably filaments or open tube filament, probably.
Well, look at that speaker.
It's an 8-inch speaker with a tweeter. Not a transistor in this. It's all tube. But a tube stereo amplifier.
But it sounds beautiful when it works.
It sounds wonderful. I've got the transistor version of this, which is very similar, not quite as heavy. But this is the tube version. Probably was made by Magnavox up through 64 or 65. Maybe as late as 66. But this was a piece of work. You had this in your breakfast nook or your dining room or an executive office on the credenza behind your desk. Listen to, back then FM carried mostly beautiful music and classical, because rock and roll hadn't made its way to FM yet. So this would have sounded wonderful in an elegant setting.
And it has an input for a turntable or something.
It has a phono input, so you could use it with a record changer, which you could buy as an accessory. Yeah. It's a hot chassis radio. A record changer is not a good idea, but we did it. But this came in from one of my stereo customers who says it belonged to some member of his family and he wanted to keep it, and could I fix it? Well, sure, I can fix it. A tube, maybe some caps, clean up the switches and things, like your little Sony in there. You thought it was in such horrible shape. It's all dirty switches and pots. Little WD-40, you're good to go. So that's going to be a project for one of my slow days. It's model FM28, nice simple model number. There's the tube lineup. This would have been a separate filament string, 50C5 and 12AX7 adds up to 112. So this and this would have been 2 separate filament strings. May have been 3 actually. There was the FM tuner, the multiplex unit, and the IF strip.
And it's awfully well built.
It was beautifully built in Indiana, I think. The factory was still in Indiana in those days.
Never going to be made again.
No, those were the days.
Well, thank you, Paul.
You're welcome. We'll have this in running someday, and I'll show you how it sounds.